Started from the basics, I was hoping for a raise. Little crave, trying to understand my name.
Yes, what's up, guys? It's Data Kind of Story. Today has been, well, it has been funny. I was recording for like 15 minutes, and I had no idea it wasn't recording, and I just finished talking, and then I checked, and then I found out that I wasn't recording. So all those information that was like out of my head, it's probably gone. But I mean, I'll try to replicate it. I mean, what can I say? But yeah, so yeah, Data Kind of Story, and yeah, I'm just gonna make this video answering a particular question that someone asked. I know I've not been here for some time. I'm not making videos, and yeah, that's because I've been busy. But yeah, we're back. I mean, it's December, and yeah, so yeah, Merry Christmas in advance, and yeah, let's just see how it goes. And yeah, so basically, my previous video, someone made a comment, and let me just read what the person said. So the person was like, "Can you do a video on easiest branch of tech to learn or go into as a beginner, please?" So yeah, so looking at that question, I would say it's relative, really, because at the end of the day, it depends on you, it depends on what you're interested in doing, it depends on the skills you have. So let's say you're coming from a background that is non-tech, and then you should look out for certain skills that you can convert, into tech. Like tools that you can just convert into like a technical role. And let's say, for instance, you'd say you have you're good at telling stories, you're good at investigating things, you are very observant. I would say, yeah, go for data analysis, because basically you're going to be just getting insights from data, also telling stories, writing reports, on what you have found. If you are good with numbers, computational problem solving, good at mathematics, I'd say become a software engineer. By all means, I believe they'll need people like you, problem solvers, and not just any kind of problem solving, but it should be problem solving that involves, quantitative questions, or logical reasoning, or yeah, just basically just good in maths. I would say I go to software engineering. If you have maybe choleric traits, you have leadership potentials, you're a good manager, you know how to manage things or manage people, or you're coming from human resource, or you're coming from being a manager, being a manager at maybe of a team, then I would say go for project management. Project management basically is just managing people, and ensuring that they meet those deadlines, or milestones that you have created. If you are, I feel like there's so many other roles you can look at. When we're talking about cybersecurity, if you are keen on, protecting information, you could be coming from a point of maybe compliance, like people coming from compliance can be like, okay, you have done something in compliance before where it also involves, integrity of data or information, and then you can now then say, okay, yeah, you can actually transfer those skills you have to becoming a cybersecurity specialist or engineer, where you are then protecting, data on the internet, and then you just have to learn all the technical roles, Yeah, so that's one thing, and I'd say that me personally, I believe that you can be whatever you want to be, in life. You just have to set your mind to it. But then again, you need to be motivated. You need discipline as well in order to achieve that. And I would place motivation above discipline, although a lot of people will say discipline above motivation, because it can be really hard to be disciplined. It can be really, really hard to be disciplined, because you have to wake up every single time and say, you know what, I'm going to do this today, I'm going to do this today, no matter the challenges you face. That is discipline. But I feel like in that discipline, there will be a little bit of motivation somewhere just lingering around. There's something that's motivating you. It can be that, you want to make money. It can be that could be your motivation, like you really want to make money, and that is also what is in your mind. So whenever you are faced with those storms, at the back of your mind, you're like, you know what, look, I need to get this job because I need to make money. It could be that, you want to impress someone. I don't know. It could be that you just need to level up, with your peers. That is the motivation behind it. It doesn't necessarily have to be internal. It could also be external. It doesn't necessarily have to just be, oh, you're just motivated because of some certain reasons. There are also external factors that can motivate you, into becoming what you want to become. And that's why sometimes you hear people say things like, the kind of friends you hang around with determine the kind of person you are. And then that just obviously comes from motivation and drive. You see these people, and you'd want to be like them, and then you have that drive to be like them. It's almost like you growing up in a household of professionals. Your dad is a doctor, your mom is an engineer. You're probably going to follow that line because that's what you see every day. That's where the external motivation comes from. But if you just talk about raw discipline and you're just waking up and just doing something over and over again, you probably will get exhausted. It could be exhausting. So that's what I would say. And then also at the same time, people say that, I've heard a saying where they say when you constantly do something over and over again, it becomes a habit. And I feel it's true, because I find myself, I constantly wake up and I'm just on my laptop, maybe working, or I know I have work, and then it becomes a habit for me that I know that weekdays I'm going to wake up, open my computer, and I'll start working. And then it becomes, I become used to it because it's what I'll be doing for a period of time. So that consistency also matters, that will create that habit for you to do what you need to do. But as I'll say, basically, you can actually be whatever you want to be. Then also I'll say you should also research on, technical roles and see promising technical roles that you want to go into. Right now, on my list, I'll place cybersecurity as number one. Before I would have said data, data science, data analysis. But these days, it just feels like there are a lot of data analysis everywhere, data science. No disrespect whatsoever, but yeah, there's just like a lot of people now in that field. And sometimes it just feels like, I don't know, it feels, although it's still really high in demand, obviously, and you still really have to have those skills, but then again, there's like a lot of competition, there's influx, really like everybody's just there right now, and then, yeah. And then you'd have to now think, okay, maybe you should be looking at something else, or you should also be looking at that as well, because obviously there's still a lot of rules. And why I'll place, and that's basically the reason why I place cybersecurity, because a lot of people are not really going to cybersecurity because at times it could be really technical, but then I feel like once you first of all have that motivation and you set your mind to it, you can do it. And then also you just have to know the foundations, and the foundation of anything cybersecurity, whatever is networking. You need to understand how computers or devices communicate with one another. That's the basic, because what you're doing, you're going to be protecting those information, those packets. And then it's almost like they employ you as a security personnel, and you don't even know what a gate is, or you don't even know how to open a gate. How are you going to secure the gates? So that's basically what it is. So you need to understand the foundations. You need to understand how the computers communicate. Talking about IP addresses, talking about networks, talking about subnets. Groups of devices or computers being in the same subnet. They can communicate internally. It's almost like, they are brothers and sisters, or they are friends. They are communicating internally, but then they now want to communicate with another group, in another subnet. Then you now be talking about how to now communicate with those guys, using IP addresses, external IP address, communicating with those guys, sending information, sending packets. You need to understand the OSI model, the different layers of the OSI models, and setting protocols that work on those OSI models. You need to understand interfaces, those are just the basic things you need to understand, basically just about networking. So once you have understood that, then you'll now be talking about the security aspect, where we're talking about IPsec, talking about VPNs, talking about firewalls, and then when you have understood that security aspect, I think, then you're good to go. Then you can dive deep into so many security stuff that I probably don't know about. And basically, we all know that as a cyber security specialist or engineer, you are mostly just going to be protecting data, protecting information, protecting packets, from hackers. I'm kind of like dressed like a hacker. Like the typical hacker you'd see on the internet, on the picture, with the hoodie and everything. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're really like that, but mean, that's just the image that we have. But yeah, but basically you're protecting it from those guys. But those guys are trying to snoop your data, snoop your information, they're trying to steal your information, they're trying to eavesdrop, and then you will have to create a secure channel, for your data, so that those guys cannot reach out to your data, to your information. So that is what basically what cybersecurity specialists will do. And then you're talking about data, data analysis, data engineer, data scientist, and I've talked about that in my previous video. So you can just click on the link at the top, and then you can watch the videos and you see what roles pertain to each of those guys, or each of those jobs, and what they do. And then we can talk about software engineering. And then I would say for software engineering, I just feel like basically you should just be a logical person, know how to reason logically, be a problem solver, be good in mathematics. I mean, then when just say, I was like, what is maths doing here? But trust me, because when you're good in maths, you know how to solve problems, and know how to solve problems in multiple ways. And that is what programming actually is, or what it does, because there are so many ways you can actually arrive at an answer. And it's also algorithms. When you're solving mathematics, you're also writing algorithms as well. Step-by-step processes to arrive at an answer. And that's basically what you also be doing as a programmer. So yeah, if you're very good at maths, it's going to be a huge plus. Not that it's necessary, but it's going to be a huge plus. But basically, at the foundation, just be a problem solver, know how to reason logically, and then you'll be able to dive in there. And project managers, basically, like I said, if you are that kind of person that you have that leadership potentials, leadership role, you see yourself managing people, managing resources, and then you easily become a project manager. I mean, a lot of people would not say that project management is a technical role, and it's not exactly a technical role. But depending on where you find yourself, it could be technical. So you could be working with a group of technical people, working with a technical team, and you're the one managing them, like DevOps engineers, like software engineers. So you should be able to know those technical roles, or know what they are doing, because at least to understand what they are doing, and also to protect your name and give yourself some respect. Imagine you don't know what a pipeline is, and they are mentioning pipeline, and you're thinking it's maybe relating to plumbing works. Or they are mentioning CI/CD, and you're wondering what is CI/CD, or automation, or IAC, or Terraform, and you're just looking like, what are you guys talking about? They're not going to respect you, because you clearly shows you don't know what they are doing. And then why are you demanding so much from them when you don't even understand that what they are doing is so hard or so technical? So you should be able to understand those terms. You should be able to fit yourself inside, be able, so that you can easily manage those projects. So yeah, so that's basically about project management. It's about setting goals, milestones, and ensuring that the project is complete, and not just completed on time, but also complete in the sense that it satisfies the requirements of the stakeholders, which is very important, very key. So yeah, that's project management. You could look at there's AI engineering, there's ML engineering, there's ML operations. You could look at that as well. That's a very good role as well. There's DevOps engineering. If you like automation, if you're someone that just like things to work automatically, and it fascinates you when things are just automatic, and you don't have to stress yourself. Maybe you're the kind of person that you have a playlist already ordered, in a certain sequence that you like. If you love sequence, if you love order, if you love automation, then I'll say DevOps engineering, you can easily transfer yourself into becoming a DevOps engineer. And then basically I just creating pipelines, working with templates for automation, writing some scripts to automate a template, working with also computing resources like your Docker, your Kubernetes, your VMs, and yeah, so you also need to have I would say a little bit of programming knowledge, because you could also use Python as well. So yeah, you should be able to like have a good knowledge of a specific language, let's say like Python, and even if it's just specific to um, automation or building templates, then have that, because that will really be helpful. And then yeah, so leaving all those sides, you can now then be looking at and maybe not too technical roles, like data visualization, which is sort of similar to what a data analyst would do. You could be looking at I feel even sometimes people want to say digital marketing, but that's like long ago, because I don't know if it's really in high demand. But I know there was a time where digital marketers were high in demand. SEO engineers, quotes, because basically they're just optimizing your websites, optimizing your pages and whatever. And yeah, so there were times that we had people like that, but I won't really bring that into this category, because I don't know how technical that is. It's just basically digital marketing. It feels more like content creation. No disrespect, but I'm creating content right now. But yeah, but no disrespect. So I don't know how technical that is. But yeah, but that is also could just be there as well. Yeah, but then I would say do your research, go online, see. There's so many I have not listed. There's cloud computing, which I can't believe I forgot that. I forgot it in my previous video that did not record that I made. Life of a content creator, in quotes. But basically that is there as well. Cloud computing, where basically you're working with resources on the cloud. And when you just say on the cloud, it's just like your internet. Your internet is on the cloud, per se. And on the cloud basically means that there is a series of computers, or a room filled with computers, a data center, a building filled with computers, a data center somewhere where you just store your resources. So I can be Microsoft, for instance, and say, you know what, I don't want to store my resources myself. Just take these resources, store this thing in your own computers, and relieve me of that burden of buying so much devices and putting it in a building that I probably don't even have space. Right now there's a lot of remote working going on, and people don't even have physical offices. So where am I going to store all these data? So that's where like cloud computing comes in, where Microsoft will say, okay, you know what, give me those data, pay me a small amount of money, and I'll store it for you. So you basically working as a cloud computing engineer or a cloud engineer is you just managing those resources on the cloud. So the resources that Microsoft have that they have stored, they're just managing it. It's just you basically just doing. It could just be as basic as some simple administrative roles you do on your computer, like dragging to a certain location, keeping it in a certain folder, or things like that. But then it gets technical, because you are not really necessarily just doing that, because you're working with a platform, which is like, let's say for like Azure or AWS, where you are creating these virtual resources, and then you have to configure them. So it's almost like you're building your own computer, but not necessarily. So it doesn't sound like it's one massive thing. But you're just building up your own computer, like your own VM. Okay, what image you want to install, what storage disk size you want, what network is going to be on for you to communicate with other resources in your company. And then also you now talking about creating network resources, or creating security resources like your firewalls, to allow it also basically to protect your resources. If you're going to block some certain outbound operations or calls, or inbound calls or operations, you do that. And then so it almost feels like you should know. It kind of feels like a generalist role, where you should know a little bit of almost everything. You're talking about the computing resources, talking about network resources, talking about your app services, which is your web services, where you're basically just handling, anything that has to do with web, hosting your websites, writing scripts, so that's function apps, writing scripts to maybe automate certain processes on the website, or functions on the website that you don't necessarily have to host. We're talking about serverless computing, or you are, so and a lot of times you could actually just be focused on a specific role. I remember there was a place where I was working in, and I was just focused on the ARM section, which was just basically building templates like Terraform, like ARM templates, like using biceps, Ansible, Jenkins, that kind of thing. And then which then also transitions to DevOps engineering, because then you can now say, okay, you want to automate certain processes, like building pipelines, and then running those scripts on those pipelines so that you don't really have to do it yourself manually. And then CI/CD operations, using PowerShell, Bash, that all comes, and it could be really technical, because then you're writing scripts and you're doing a lot. So it's like managing computing resources, writing scripts, doing this, doing that, or you could just be focusing on one area. There's also API management as well, which is APIM in Azure. The storage devices you manage. So it could be a lot, but then it's also there. That's a very good technical role that a lot of people are into right now. But basically, what I'll just say is, don't really take my word for it. Go out there, do your own research, and then try to match your skills or your interests or what you feel like you can actually just settle down and focus on and do that. And also, I advise that it could really be tricky, because when you're going into a technical field, and then you could be stuck in this wormhole or this black hole of where there's just so many things, and you just keep on going. You want to learn this, you want to learn that. You could get trapped in that. And I would say just try as much as possible to focus and just be a specialist. Focus on something. Let's say if it's software engineering, focus on your software engineering. Pick a specific language and focus on that language. But there are so many languages, and you'll be tempted, you want to learn Java, you want to learn Python, you want to learn C#, you want to learn JavaScript, you want to learn PHP, and then you end up not learning anything at all. So if it's PHP you want to learn, just focus on it. Be very good at it. That when I will say, I'm looking for a PHP guy, they'll be like, that's the guy. Be that person. Or they say, they're looking for a DevOps engineer. They'll be like, that's the guy. Or a site reliability engineer, which is something I didn't mention, but it's quite similar to DevOps. Or platform engineering, which is also very similar to DevOps as well. They'll be like, that's the guy. So you want to be that person. And not just, he does computing, he also does networking, and also does software engineering, and also does, but I don't know how good he is, but he just does those things. You don't want to be that person, because you want to be the guy that they will say, that is the guy for that stuff. Not, he's everywhere and nowhere. You get what I mean? So it's that's basically what I would say. Just focus, pick something, focus on it. Then after you become a specialist in that area, you can now then branch and say, you want to be a generalist in so many other things. Like just know a little bit of so many other things, because it's also helpful as well. Because then you can now find an interest and say, you know what, I think I like this, and I'll go for that as well. And but just first of all, be solid at one thing. Do it well, be the best at it, and you're good to go. So that's basically it. Finally, I was able to hopefully make this video, because I won't be surprised if it's not recording right now. But hopefully, I was able to make this video. And if you have any questions, just drop in the comment section. And please subscribe. I spent how many hours making this video? This is ridiculous. So please encourage me and subscribe. And ask your questions. I'm willing to answer. And then hopefully more videos will come on through. And Merry Christmas in advance. And have a nice day.
Me I no sign them, enemies around me. Me I'm gonna gun them. My mind on my moolah, pay me my moolah. My mind on my moolah, moolah. My mind is made up.